Baseball Stadium. Kevin Brawl alongside me, Carlton Gillespie, and we bring you Game 2 of the Blue and Gold World Series. Last night, Blue with an 8-2 victory, and the star of that game was Austin Deering. Deering made a spectacular catch out in right field to save a couple of runs, and also tacked on with the stick, hitting a big 3-run home run in the 8-2 victory from the Blue. Our very own Kevin Brawl took an interview with Austin after the game.
For Team Blue, number 35, Logan Rutz.
All right, so we've got your interview for a minute and a half.
Okay. Do you hear me perfectly?
Mm-hmm. Good here.
Perfect.
For first pitch here, stepping into the batter's box up first is going to be Royland Caveda. We'll have full lineups for you as Logan Rundy gets set, throws the first pitch, and that is low for a ball. Catcher today, Ronnie Medina, is catching the right-hander Logan Rundy. First base is Ryan Guida as the 1-0 is driven out to shortstop. Diving play. What a scoop. Can he make the throw? He does, and gets him by a step and a half. Cavado is quick up that line, but it's Alex Ulloa, the shortstop, going to his right, making a tremendous play. And with that, I welcome in Kevin Brawl. Kevin, what a start.
What a start indeed. What a play for Alex Ulloa, one of the newcomers to this FIU team. And Ryan Guido, who does not play much first base, didn't play at all last season at that position, makes a great snag there.
Good stretch to get him, and that's first pitch into Brylan West is inside for a ball. We've got to go around the diamond for you. We've got Guida at first, Chase Engelhardt at second, Alex Ulloa, who just made a tremendous play at third. As the 1-0 comes in, it's a slider taken for a strike.
Sammy Fisher at third for FIU.
In the outfield, we've got Hector Candales, Armando Barrera in center. And out in left field, you'll have to give us some time with the scrimmage. We've got a lot of new faces. I'll ask Kevin about that in a moment. As for the batting order for the Gold team, we have Royland Cavado, who just made a ground out to shortstop. Brylan West, who finds himself in a 1-2 count. Jeff LaCory, Keyshawn Frett, Austin Deering, the hero of last night. Then Matthew Corpus, Brendan Roney, Jacob McKenzie, Jaquan Smith. 1-2 pitch, slider taken outside. Good movement on that pitch.
Yeah, Logan Rundy, another one of the newcomers to this FIU baseball team, has made a pretty good first impression thus far. Obviously, thrown a couple bullpens here for Coach Rich Witten.
2-2 on the way. That's in there. Called strike three. Frozen fastball on the inside corner. And all Brylan West could do was stare at it and get rung up. So Rundy records 2 quick outs, one via the strikeout. Rundy and the rest of the Blue team in all white today with the white hats and the Gold lineup wearing the all black uniforms. Didn't see the black uniforms at all, maybe once or twice last season, but they look really good here in November.
Yeah.
Stepping in now, Jeff LaCory takes a pitch outside for a ball.
Jeff LaCory, one of the D2 transfers, the big ticket transfer for this FIU baseball team.
And they respect his pull power from the left side as he checks his swing. Home plate umpire rules he went around. They've got a big shift on to the right side of the infield, respecting the pull power of the lefty. You know, something you don't see in the major leagues anymore, but still alive and well at the college level as the 1-1 pitch is taken outside.
LaCory could play you all 3 outfield spots, took a lot of reps in center field, also could play you some first, but for the most part, you'll see him in right.
2-1 on the way, and that is slashed foul into the dugout down the right side. Yeah, and center field is going to be a big question for this FIU team. Obviously, Alex Sanchez, star player on the team last year, is graduated. He's moved on to, hopefully bigger and better things, but they've got a spot out there in the middle of the outfield.
Yep.
And the 2-2 is outside. He spit on a slider that broke to the outside.
Thankfully for FIU, that center field spot looks to be locked down by Jaquan Smith. We'll see him on the gold team in the following bottom half of this inning.
Full count. Ball is fouled back and out of play, so staying alive. Full count with 2 outs is Jeff LaCoury. And Rundy's got tremendous movement on that slider. That seems to be a great put-away pitch for him. He's certainly going to it now with the 3-2. Full count on the way. Inside, driven deep into right field, and just hooking foul. Boy, is there some pop off the bat of Jeff LaCoury. That was fouled by about 10 feet, but boy, you hit the heck out of that.
You're going to notice a lot from this goal team, the power that they possess with Brylan West, Keyshawn Frett, and now Jeff LaCoury, who's up at the plate.
Rundy taking some time here. Looks in, finds the pitch he wants. Full count on the way, and he finally gets him swinging and missing at that slider. So Jeff LaCoury made a lot of noise in his at-bat, but it amounts to nothing, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Logan Rundy. So now is our first chance to see the blue team at the dish, and the gold team will take the field, and we'll have that for you next here on the FIU Athletics stream. We are back at the FIU Baseball Stadium, Game 2 of the Gold versus Blue World Series. And we are going to get a first look at this blue team lineup. That lineup for you is going to be Ronnie Medina, the catcher, leading off. Hector Candelas in right field. Ryan Guida is playing first base. He'll hit third. Armando Becerra, he's playing center field, and he'll hit in the cleanup spot. Trayson Cameron, the extra hitter today, also playing some third base. He'll hit fifth. Adrian Figueroa, Figgy, makes his debut in the blue team, hitting sixth. Alex Ulloa at shortstop. Sammy Fisher will hit eighth, and Chase Engelhard ninth. So it's Roney who steps in, and he'll face Jackson Ritchie, who's on the mound.
This blue team is definitely the underdog entering this World Series, as Coach Witten mentioned before yesterday's game. And
the first pitch is outside for a ball. Good take there from Roney. That was close.
It kind of feels like the blue team's playing for a lot more than this gold team, and obviously just given the fact that this gold team.
And that's hit on the ground. A shortstop, Quevedo picks it up, fires over. A great pick over there at first base from Brylan West.
JUCO transfer for FIU, and he's already made a pretty good name for himself. Gets hit by a pitch yesterday, gets those final runs in there for FIU, gets that going there, and this is a gold team that's favored by a lot if you have to put Vegas odds on it, Carlton.
Well, let's set him up. Behind the plate, we've got Brendan Roney. He's catching Jackson Ritchie. Third to first, we've got Andre Martinez, Royland Quevedo, who made the play there at shortstop. Matthew Corpas at second, and at first, Brylan West, as a 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed by Hector Candelas. And in the outfield, same lineup as yesterday, right, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
We've got Jeff LaCoury, Jaquan Smith, as that pitch is taken outside, and Austin Deering, last night's hero, in left field. So left to right, it's Deering, Smith, LaCory. 1-1 and 1 away here as Richie deals, and that pitch is inside, squirts away from Roney. Runs the count to 2-1. Richie getting the start here. He was used as an opener a few times last season and is getting the start today in the inter-squad scrimmage as the 2-1 is low, and that sets up a 3-1 count. At 3-1 count, that's the count that Austin Deering hit his 3-run bomb last night. Kevin, you were here. What did you see on that?
Pitch right down the middle. He said the slider was hanging away, and
3-1 is fouled back, runs the count full.
Said the slider was hanging, and he just had to take advantage of it. Honestly, goes into right field. That was probably one of the bigger home runs I've seen at this stadium. And unfortunately, it wasn't, a Conference USA game.
Oh, but he'll remember that.
He will, definitely. A lot of power out of this outfield as well.
Full count from Richie on the way. It is swung on and driven into center field. Back is Jaquan Smith, makes the catch and puts it away. 2 gone. So we've seen some good contact from FIU hitters on both sides of the scrimmage. Nothing's dropped in for a base hit yet.
Exactly, but as you mentioned, a lot of power. I mean, just a lot of contact. They're working these counts. Obviously, Deering had that 3-1 count. So you got to think that a lot more patience through these FIU hitters. Obviously, you had Alex Sanchez, you had Ruben Carpio, Mikey Rosario, who were pretty good hitters. But
speaking of good hitters from last year, Ryan Guida watches a first pitch in there for a strike, and he just led in just about every statistical category for this Panthers team. And that's a big stick that'll be in the lineup. You got to think starting day one till the end of the season for Rich Whitten.
Yeah, 100%. Guida's going to be one of the few returners on this FIU team, and definitely going to be one of the bigger pieces for them, as he says he's willing to play first base if he has to, and he even mentioned left field if he has to.
1-1 pitch on the way, swung on, popped up in the infield, calling everybody off is the first baseman, West, and he makes a catch and puts away. So no score, no hits. 1, 2, 3, top of the first, 1, 2, 3, bottom of the first. It's a 0-0 game here in game 2 of the Golden Blue scrimmage. We're back with inning number 2 after this. Logan Rundy has thrown his final warm-up pitch here. He is going to go back out for his second inning of work. 1-2-3 inning for him last time out. And the gold lineup is going to send out Keyshawn Frett, Austin Deering, and Matthew Corpus to see if they can get on the board against him. Frett is DHing today. Again, you mentioned one of those new players, 21 new players for Rich Whitten's team. And this scrimmage, a good time to see how they're fitting in. As the first pitch here to Frett is that breaking pitch, but stays away, and Frett lays off it. The count is 1-0. And one thing in your interview that we aired earlier with Austin Deering is he mentioned the family affair as that ball curves in for a strike, 1-1. This is a team that kind of lacked that cohesion last year, and you could see they'd get down early, their heads would get down, as working quickly as Rundy, a third consecutive breaking pitch, that one's in for a strike. So it's good to hear that family spirit, that cohesiveness is already starting to gel in with the team this early. 1-2 pitch on the way, outside 2-2.
And yesterday, when I spoke to Coach Witten before the game that was on the pregame show for us here, he really mentioned just doing a lot of team bonding. That's something that they felt like they needed. We spoke to a couple of the players, and they agreed.
2-2 on the way is fouled, so it'll stay that way.
Keyshawn Fred also could play a little bit of left field, could play first base, kind of a little bit of everywhere here for FIU, but they need this type of power hitter, especially with the loss of Sanchez, Carpio, Rosario.
2-2 pitch is on the way to Fred. Swings and misses, but that pops out of the glove and goes all the way to the backstop. He's going to get on. They failed to complete this strikeout as that ball popped out of the glove of the catcher from Rundy. He couldn't handle the breaking pitch, and over at first base, our first base runner of the game, Keyshawn Fred.
Quick note, the catcher right now for the blue team is Nick Patelli.
Nick Patelli, who had got a good bit of playing time near the end of last season, and normally pretty solid back there. He'll be frustrated. So up steps Austin Deering, the 3-run home run last night, and boy, would he love to add some more of that instant offense. He looks at a first pitch strike. So we've got our first base runner of the game. We've got a guy that firsthand experience has some pop in the stick in Austin Deering.
Very excited to see what he could do for this FIU team.
Throw back over to first base, but it's in time. Interesting if we'll see Keyshawn Fred swipe it back. You mentioned Fred's versatility. I think that's something that we've seen with a lot of the guys that Rich Witten has targeted. He wants guys that he can plug in a bunch of different ways, and that's certainly what he went out and got in the transfer market. And the 0-1 pitch is outside, runs the count even, 1-1.
Yeah, Coach Witten definitely had to go out there and just find at this point. Just so many losses on both pitching and hitting.
1-1 pitch, breaking pitch in there for a strike, 1-2.
But obviously, when you go into that in the transfer portal, even just signing guys in general, you need to find the right guy, group. You just can't go out there and look for anyone.
And it's a throw back over to first base, and he's just in there in time as Fred. Figueroa over at first applied the tag, was not in time.
Keyshawn Fred looks like he really wants to swipe this one over here.
Yeah, he wants a bag, and if he's not, he's at least occupying a good bit of mental real estate in the head of Logan Rundy, who's got a 1-2 on the way, and Fred does take off. It'll be no throw as he slides into the bag and takes a steal. That breaking pitch was a little inside. You saw Patelli maybe was a little bit concerned he'd come up and hit Deering with his throw. So either way, first base runner steals the first base of the game, Keyshawn Fred.
Now puts Austin Deering in a better spot than he was just a couple seconds ago.
2-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled off of Patelli. It looks like it was fouled off his knee. He kind of recoiled for a bit, but he shakes it off. That's a tough kid behind the dish.
100%. This is, we were talking to some of the players, and they were mentioning just the depth that they have this season. Something they really didn't have a lot of last season. You look at first base, you have Guida, Figueroa, West, and then you look at the catching depth, and it's a lot better than it was last season.
2-2 pitch on the way to Deering. Swings and laces it into center field. Is that going to get down? He does. Rounding third is Keyshawn Fred, and can't come up with it in center field. Going to second, Deering. He is safe. So a bit of a wacky one there. To recap, Deering hit a sinking line drive into center field. The center fielder, Armando Becerra, could not come up with it, so Fred scored. Deering takes second. The tag play at second was close, but not in time.
Austin Deering, great position for him. He's the 5-hitter for FIU today, and it really just worked out as it should have, and the goal team's now up 1-0.
Go ahead and drive in runs. That's what you want from a guy like Deering. So already making some noise in his first, you'd say, competitive action for the Panthers. First pitch on the way is in there to Matthew Korpas for a strike.
This is a very exciting FIU team, and just the vibe you get around it being here. It's a lot better than it was last season, and that's no knock on the guys that were here last season. That's some really good games. Obviously, I think you were here at the game where they run-ruled FAU. Mm-hmm. You had a couple comeback wins.
0-1 pitch is inside for a ball, runs the count even. Yeah, and listen, it was a team. The reason they were so fun, the pitching staff struggled for large stretches, especially the bullpen, but there was so much offense that you never felt like they were out of the game because they could just put up runs in a hurry. They always had guys on base, traffic on the base paths as the 1-1 pitch is in there for a strike. But yeah, they walked a fine line for a lot of the season, and when they got into conference play, that high-risk, high-reward strategy didn't pay off for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of feels like you just added a lot more offense to this team.
1-2, check swing. Open umpire rules that Korpas went. And so the strikeout there for Logan Rundy, who had a 1-2-3 first inning, then has allowed, a base runner and a run to score here, settles down with the strikeout. And guess what pitch it was on? That really nasty wipeout slider that he's got.
Logan Rundy's definitely going to be a big piece for this FIU team. You lost Angel Tabersi, you lost a couple other guys in that pitching staff. You bring in a couple of new ones. Richie Pena had a very strong outing for the blue team, for the gold team yesterday, And now Logan Rundy out here and making a name for himself.
So Brendan Roney will take his first at bat. The catcher watches the first pitch that's outside. So one away here, still a 1-0 ball game. Gold team on an RBI. We'll probably give him a single and an error.
Likely.
For Austin Deering that scored Keyshawn Fred.
Brendan Roney.
Oh, that breaking pitch just misses inside 2-0.
Brendan Roney really struggled at the start of the season, but after getting a lot more playing time along with Craig Paladar, who's no longer with the program, he really got it going, and I'm feeling a really good season incoming for Roney.
So 2-0 count. Rundy fires in, and that is sliced into right field. Looks like foul territory. Going back is Figueroa, and it's out of his reach. It'll skip into what is normally the visiting bullpen, but will be the blue bullpen today. So a 2-1 count. You mentioned Roney. Yeah, another guy that is on this blue team today, Roylan Quevedo, who had to step in as a true freshman, right? And for Steven Odina, who was the starting shortstop, no longer with the team. But, a couple guys that it took them a while to get settled in, especially young guys like Roney and Quevedo. 2-1 pitch is inside but called a strike, 2-2. It's certainly been the trend, and if you go look at the roster, there's a lot more FRs and SOs next to guys' names than there was last year.
Exactly. And Roylan Quevedo, that's going to be one of the big names to watch this season, put on a lot of weight. And he's playing shortstop now, but
2-2, and that's driven to third base. Can't come up with it, and Roney will reach on the error. And can't handle it is Trayson Cameron. A hot shot hit over to him and bounced up and caught him off the chest. So he kept it in front of him and kept Deering at third, but allowed Roney to get on. So one away, and the player manager, Ryan Kabarkis, for the goal team is going to go have a talk with Logan Rundy, and in comes the whole infield. So they'll at least have a discussion about this, as up at the dish is Jacob McKenzie, the extra hitter today. For a reminder for those of you, in our inter-squad World Series here, we've got both a designated hitter and an extra hitter. So the extra hitter there for the blue team is Jacob McKenzie. The EH. Not sure how you put that on the scorecard, but he will be doing that. So we got runners on the corner in a 1-0 ball game, and after a quick 1-2-3 inning against a really tough top of the blue lineup, right in the meat, Logan Rundy struggling. He's gonna stay out there. Kabarkis lets him have the ball.
No one warming up either in either bullpen at the moment, so it looks like Rundy will be going out here. Something to, I think it's worth noting that these guys are in some sort of pitch limit. Each guy has a certain amount. So, for example, Tristan Dietrich, who we may see today at some point, one of the
first pitch is fouled back by McKenzie.
Who we may see today, Dietrich, he has a 45 pitch limit. So depending on what happens in the game, he may or may not play. But if he doesn't play pitch today, he will go tomorrow. As
you mentioned, no action in the bullpen. Infield at double play depth. He's a ground ball away from ending this if they can do it cleanly. And that is a foul ball down the right field line. So quickly up 0-2.
Yep. Jacob McKenzie, one of the new players on this FIU team, a freshman who spent some time with the Florida League with our good friend Jonathan Mayer. He was on that team, spent 2 weeks, hit over 500, but had to come back to FIU to get some to go through his summer course.
0-2 and on the move, and there will be no throw. Brendan Roney gets a steal. Go ahead and mark that on your bingo card. We got a catcher stealing a base. You don't see that a whole lot, but Brendan Roney makes it with no throw. I don't think they were expecting him to take off, and kind of one of those Acuna steals where he said, they're not going to keep me on. I'm not staying here. So the double play now out of the question. 1-2 pitch is fouled off. We got runners on second and third. It's Deering on third, Roney on second, McKenzie in the batter's box. And, that stolen base, it's just a 1 in the stat sheet, but kind of turns the heat up on this situation for Rundy, though he is ahead 1-2 with 1 away in a 1-0 ball game. That 1-2 pitch is on the way, and that's grounded to the shortstop, who picks up long throw. Figgy makes the catch and puts the tag down. Deering will score from third, but it is tremendous range from the shortstop, Alex Ulloa. Again, another great defensive play, and they'll have to sacrifice the run. Roney moves up to third. There's 2 away. It's a 2-0 ball game.
Great throw by Alex Ulloa, who likely puts himself in position to be the opening day shortstop for this team. When we spoke to Witten a couple months ago, or at least a month ago, I want to say, he said that he wants Royal Quevedo to be the team's second baseman.
Center fielder Jaquan Smith steps up and shows bunt at the first pitch that's outside. I wonder if he learned that from another famous center fielder here in Miami, Jazz Chisholm, who loves to just drop a bunt down the third base line if they're not expecting it. He's swinging away on this one, and he fouls it back. So Roney at third and Smith in the batter's box, a 2-0 lead here for Gold.
Smith, he's pretty tall and lengthy, but he's very well known for his speed and spent some time with McKenzie on the Stanford River Rats in the Florida League. So
Smith fouls another one back.
And he yesterday put a ball all the way back in center field. It quite didn't go all the way, but great catch by the center fielder, Armando Becerra, yesterday to rob Jaquan Smith of a possible maybe double, even triple.
So Smith digging in from the left side here. In a 1-2 count, and he watches that go outside. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 away here in the top of the second. So 2 runs on 1 hit so far. If Rundy can stop the bleeding here, that gives Blue a chance in the bottom of the inning, and that is laced into right center field. It gets down. Jaquan Smith, he takes a big turn. Roney will score. He'll retreat back to first to Will Smith. And it's an RBI single from Jaquan Smith.
There you go. He gets his revenge moment here for the Gold FIU team. So nice to see him get a run here on the board.
Yeah, had a run, had a big base hit taken away from him last night, and that's a beautiful piece of hitting. Just kept his head down and threw the bat head at it, unlaced himself a single. So up now, Andre Martinez, who's playing third base today. Martinez batting from the right side, and that breaking ball is in there for a strike. So we've already seen Keyshawn Frett steal a base. We've seen Brendan Roney steal a base. And if you look at the lead of Jaquan Smith as they throw over right as I say that, Jaquan Smith might want one here too. So no balls and a strike, 2 away here in a 3-0 game. Grundy still working through the difficulty, and there is action in the Blue bullpen. As that pitch is outside, counts even at 1-1.
Andre Martinez, a redshirt senior coming from the University of Charleston.
A throw over to first base, and Smith is back in plenty of time.
Kind of can play you, as we were mentioning, the versatility could kind of play you a little bit of everywhere. So we'll see what happens with Martinez there, but it should be a nice piece for the FIU team.
1-1. There goes Smith. Smith is taken off. The throw is in, but not in time.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, Patelli made the throw. It was a little bit high and had the second baseman over there, Chase Engelhard, kind of jumping up to make the catch. Couldn't make the tag. So it's 3 stolen bases in the inning. And that is on the ground to the third baseman, who will retire Andre Martinez, the third baseman, to the third baseman, puts him away. And that ends an inning, but 2 hits, 3 runs scored, a couple of stolen bases, and a couple of errors have broken this ball game open in the top of the second. We'll see how the Blue team is going to respond to a 3-run outburst here at the FIU Baseball Stadium. It'll be Armando Becerra, Trayson Cameron, and Adrian Figueroa out to face Jackson Ritchie, who had a perfect 1-2-3 inning in the top of the first. 3 runs in the top of the second for Gold, and that's the score, 3-0 here. First pitch into Becerra is fouled away.
I was talking to Johnny yesterday about this, but Armando Becerra is a former Savannah Banana. So that is a pretty cool story that he is now here at FIU.
Really? A Savannah Banana? Well, he's got to bring the vibe. So he might not be used to hitting off pitchers who aren't on stilts, but we'll see how he does here as he looks at a pitch that's outside.
So funny enough, when Becerra was a Savannah Banana, I believe it was in the Coastal League. So it was before they turned into what they are today. But still cool to see a former Savannah Banana at FIU.
Oh, yeah. He's got to tell everybody he meets that. 1-1, and that pitch is grounded. It's amazing what they've done in Savannah. And I will call them this, in all due respect, a traveling sideshow. But, boy, it's a lot of fun.
It is, and they're going to come here to Miami in 2024. They're going to Jacksonville. So it's going to be a couple of Florida destinations here at FIU.
A lot of chances for our baseball fans out there to go bananas. 1-2 pitch on the way. Oh, and that hits him. That is way far inside. And shaking it off is Becerra.
So I'm getting word that Jaden Bishop is the man warming up for FIU's blue team.
So we'll see.
Number 2, Trayson.
We'll see him at the start of the next inning. But for now, Jackson Ritchie's just hit Armando Becerra. I mean, that's got to be awkward. You know, it's uncomfortable when you hit a player on an opposing team. But in a game like this, I mean, if he's going to be in the locker room with him after the game, like, hey, what are you pitching me inside for?
A lot of hit by pitches yesterday. I'll say that.
So the first pitch to Trayson Cameron is outside for a ball.
Becerra, one of the quicker guys on this team, obviously playing center field. So you have that versatility, that athleticism. Could see him steal base here.
I'd love to see it outside of Mike Rosario, who had 20 steals last year. You didn't see a lot of guys going for FIU. I think any new angle you can add to the offense here would be much appreciated as the 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed.
So Trayson Cameron, also a two-way player. He could pitch a little as well as what the FIU official roster shows. So right-handed pitcher as well as an infielder playing third base for FIU.
And we'll see here, 1-1 pitch. It's going to be on the way to Cameron. Leading off of first is Becerra after the hit by pitch. And that pitch is outside. Roney tried to frame it, but that would have been a heroic frame job, if he got that call. So 2-1 count, still a 3-0 ball game. And the blue side actually still looking for their first hit. They've got their first base runner, thanks to the HBP. 2-1 pitch in there, called strike. Count runs even.
Nice to see Jackson Ritchie find some success here. Obviously struggled a lot last season. Obviously, I will say his most notable outing actually came against the University of Miami. So nice to see him kind of have some success here, and will be probably a starting pitcher for FIU this year.
2-2, and Roney makes a throw for his knees because stealing is Becerra, and that is a remarkable tag. Roylan Quevedo was pulled to the first base side of the bag at full extension, grabs the ball that Roney had thrown, and maybe must have got the trailing foot of Becerra. That's like one of those Francisco Lindor tags out there, and I cannot give a higher praise than comparing a shortstop to Lindor. That is an excellent play in what we expect to be a series of excellent defensive plays from Roylan Quevedo. So the first base runner, the hit by pitch, is wiped away on the caught stealing. Roney made that throw from his knees. That was impressive, and the count is full to Cameron.
And for the most part, it was a pretty good throw by Roney. I know he had to move Quevedo a little bit to the side.
Payoff pitch, fouled back. We'll do it again.
I know he had to move Quevedo a little bit to the side there, but still got him to tag him out, and that's exactly what you need if you're the gold team. You want to avoid as many base runners. You want to get them out.
Yeah, and if you're going to miss that throw, right, you want to miss to the first base side because that's where the runner is.
Exactly.
So gets the ball closer to the runner, and that worked out. Payoff pitch, another one, fouled back. Staying alive, Trayson Cameron.
Fighting for a big hit here for this blue team that really needs it right now, especially after losing Becerra out here and with that caught stealing. But working full counts, that's what FIU's done on both ends.
And it's a swing and a miss on the 3-2 pitch. So he put up a good fight, but he didn't win the war. Jackson Ritchie records another strikeout.
Seeing a lot more velocity from Ritchie, which is impressive. Something we didn't see too much of last season, going more to that fastball, but working with the secondary stuff. which for the most part found a lot of success for him last season.
Yeah, and what I really like about him so far today is that he's hitting the strike zone aggressively. I think a lot of the FIU relievers, but Richie especially, struggled because he'd lose guys early as in count. When you're always pitching behind, you've got hitters that can guess on you and make you pay, even for the smallest mistakes. If it's always 2-1, if it's always 3-1, they know what they're going to get. And boy, they hit Jackson Ritchie pretty hard. Not every outing, but a lot of the time last season. So it's an even count right now. Adrian Figueroa, the first baseman, and I know we talked earlier about Ryan Guida playing some first base. We saw an amazing pick by Brylan West, but for me, especially watching him last year, Adrian Figueroa is about as fine of a defensive first baseman as you'll find in all of college baseball.
He's this team's Iron Man. I think that's the best way to put it. Besides, almost like the last game of the season, he played almost every game for FIU.
1-2 on the way is outside. Counts even. So 2 away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Still a 3-0 ball game. But yeah, Figueroa was there every day playing first base, and he was spectacular. It's not the highest priority defensive position, but when you've got a great fielder there, it really pops out. And he swings and misses at the 2-2, and they will throw over to first to complete the strikeout after Roney dropped it. So a little bit of trouble with the hit by pitch from Jackson Ritchie, but then settles down and gets a caught stealing and 2 straight strikeouts. Jackson Ritchie, 2 clean innings. I mean, that's a great start for him.
It's exactly what you need from someone like Ritchie, who is going to be a big piece for this FIU team in 2024.
So despite the action in the bullpen, it will be Logan Rundle who will come out for his 3rd inning of work in a 3-0 ball game. We'll have all that action for you alongside Kevin Burrell, Carlton Gillespie, calling the Game 2 of the Gold and Blue World Series. We'll have the 3rd inning for you when we come back. Rundy back out for the top of the 3rd inning. We'll see how long his leash is. There has been action in the blue bullpen, but everything else stays the same. And we flip the lineup card over. We're back to the top for the gold team. Royland Quevedo, Brylan West, and Jeff LaCorey. So Quevedo made an excellent tag on the caught stealing. It's a fine shortstop. We'll see if he sticks there for the rest of the season. First pitch, he slashes foul. But Quevedo last year, we mentioned earlier, stepped up in a big way for this team at such a premium defensive position, and he was excellent.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the big players on this FIU team.
0-1 pitch, fouled back. Quickly down 0-2 is Quevedo.
Gained some weight, put some weight on to get more power. He obviously told us that he feels like he's getting that power. He's going to be on a power surge this season, more or less.
0-2 pitch is in there, called strike 3. Quevedo may not have liked the call. I think it clipped the plate, but Quevedo not getting a chance to show off his power in that at-bat. That is a 3-pitch strikeout for Logan Rundy, and that's got to feel good after giving up 3 in the previous frame for him. So that'll bring up Brylan West.
And for the most part,
first pitch to West hits him on the shoulder, and hit by pitch is going to put West on first base and bring up Jeff LaCorey.
Back-to-back games where Brylan West is hit by a pitch last night, gets hit by a pitch, kind of starts that rally for the gold team.
And he is going to be replaced by a pinch runner, is West. I don't think it's because of the hit by pitch. He took it off the shoulder. He seemed fine. We're just working guys in for those of you concerned. West, you hear someone get hit by a pitch and subbed out for a pinch runner. He's fine, it looks like. But Jeff LaCorey in the batter's box with a runner on first. And LaCorey looks at that slider in there. Slider, breaking pitch, slurve, sweeper, whatever you want to call it. It's been a pitch that's worked really well for Rundy when he can locate it.
So something to note here is that Brylan West will most likely
0-1 pitch is outside. Count runs even at 1-1.
Brylan West most likely returns to the game at first base just because there's a pinch runner. That's how they're playing this game. It's a 6-inning game as well. So for our audience that is listening to this broadcast.
1-1 pitch is foul, and a couple of Panthers will give chase, but it'll go pretty comfortably into the bullpen, a 1-2 count. Yeah, and they're playing 3. Obviously, we had the game last night that ended 8-2. This game that currently sits at 3-0, and I know, Kevin, you'll be here tomorrow for game 3, and really such a fun time for this team, for the fans. There are fans here who are getting a chance to see the players. First pitch is in February, and that is another hit by pitch. That breaking pitch ran inside and hit Jeff LaCorey. So, of course, as soon as I say it's a fun day for everybody here, we got back-to-back guys getting hit with baseballs. That's no fun.
And this one looks a little bit worse. LaCorey is limping it out a little bit, so we'll see if he returns to the game. But there is an athletic trainer coming out.
He definitely grimaced, and he's taken a walk around. The limp seems to have straightened out a little bit. He's not even making eye contact with the trainer. He wants to stay in the game. He's putting the base stealing oven mitt on, so he's good to go. Thankfully, that brings up Keyshawn Frett, who reached after a failure to complete a strikeout and then stole a base and came around to score in the top half of the last inning. And he looks at a first pitch away for a ball.
Keyshawn Frett, another power hitter for this FIU team. You go back to back power hitters in the lineup for the Gold team. Still don't know how they were able to draft all 3 guys.
And that is bounced over to third base and foul. That would have been a tough throw, especially get a guy with the wheels like Frett. So maybe a good thing that went foul. That would have been a tremendously long throw for Sammy Fisher over there at third base.
So for those that weren't on the broadcast yesterday, this is essentially a player-run event. There's GM players, there's a manager, there's first and third base coaches, as you can see.
1-1 pitch fouled off. Count runs 1-2. 1 away in a 3-0 ball game.
So I believe it was Brendan Roney for the Gold team and Owen Puck, brother of AJ Puck, for the Blue team doing the drafting. And I was talking to Brendan, and he was like, I'm still surprised I was able to take Keyshawn.
1-2 pitch is driven into left field. See you later. Keyshawn Frett over the scoreboard. A 3-run bomb. Boy, like a bolt of lightning, that left the stadium.
Keyshawn Frett, folks. That's going to be the name to keep. We're going to keep hearing a lot this FIU season. What a bomb right down the middle. Takes it all the way to the FIU baseball scoreboard.
And he is hyped up. He almost caught up with Jeff LaCorey, who was ahead of him when he was rounding the bases. A big team celebration. Boy, what a swing. He just put on that baseball.
I feel like he would have hit the scoreboard if there wasn't netting surrounding that.
He absolutely blasted that. And out comes player manager Ryan Kabarkis. And it looks like he's going to take the ball from Logan Rundy. Rundy, the 3-run home runs are random in a sense. A couple of hit by pitches, but a lot of really good stuff from Rundy, especially that breaking pitch. When he was able to establish that, he was getting guys looking real goofy in the batter's box. So he'll get probably 5 earned runs. A couple of errors let him down in the top of the second frame, and that'll bring in a new pitcher, a lefty. And we'll get the name for you in just a moment.
Jaden Bishop on the mound for FIU.
There it is.
One of the new guys on this FIU team as well, as we mentioned.
We're going to say that a lot.
We're going to say it a lot. I said it a lot with Johnny yesterday, but 21 new players for FIU. And that's not normal.
No, I mean, it is, in a way, it is the new kind of for all college sports, right? It's the new way that things are done. Transfer portals open, guys can go, especially in a sport like baseball where there's a lot of JUCO movement, and there are a lot of JUCO guys here. But this is kind of the new way forward, and I heard Rich Whitten talking about it in the offseason. Well, one, he was saying, hey, I've got a pretty easy job recruiting guys because I can say, do you want to live in Miami? And
exactly.
Not a lot of other programs can say that. So you will see a lot of out-of-staters here, but I think it's also important because it means Whitten's got time to, recruit guys out of high school, but also recruit guys from other programs that he knows fit his mold. I think a lot of times that maybe, you inherited a baseball team, you kind of have to wait to implement your brand identity. But with so much roster turnover and with how young this roster is, this is going to have a lot of Rich Witten's fingerprints on it.
And you kind of hope that this is a roster that translates for years to come as well, because obviously the transfer portal does exist in every single collegiate sport. And you got to think, we look at it with FIU football, for example. They lost a lot of guys through that transfer portal. A lot of guys who we won't name right now because we'll be here for a very long time. But you hope they don't transfer with big seasons. And very quickly, Jaden Bishop standing at 6 feet tall, 185 pounds. He's a junior out of Zephyr Hills, Florida. He comes from Polk State College.
Yeah, another JUCO transfer. You mentioned the FIU athletics, and Denver Jones, leading scorer on the basketball team last year. He's off at Auburn, and we've seen the impact that's had on the FIU basketball team. The first pitch is outside for Bishop.
Excited to see what Jaden Bishop has to offer here for FIU.
Bishop, the lefty, against the lefty Austin Deering, and that pitch looked like a sinker, a bit low, 2-0.
Bishop is most likely going to be a reliever for FIU, but definitely going to be someone who we could see in a lot of high leverage situations.
Well, he is kind of going out of that modified windup, but can't find the strike zone. It's a 3-0 count to Austin Deering. Deering, not a guy you want to get behind, plain and simple.
Exactly. And I don't know if you've realized, Carlton, but there is a pitch clock here at this season for FIU.
Yeah, that is new. That's one of the things that has kind of trickled its way into the college game, which I think, first real season with it at the major league level was very successful. So we're excited to see that in college baseball. But one thing you'll still find here is the big shift, and that's what they've got on Deering is he takes a 4-pitch walk. So not ideal for Bishop to start with 4 straight walks, but in a 3-0 count, you kind of don't want to give Deering a piece of the plate to hit. He's shown you what he can do when he gets a pitch to hit. So the shift, as I mentioned, will reset now as Matthew Corpus, the second baseman, will come up and bat. Just one away here in a 6-3 ball game.
Pretty standard setup here for the infield as Corpus is up at the plate.
And Corpus takes the first pitch inside, and 5 pitches, yet to throw a strike for Bishop. He's going to the rosin bag. See if maybe he can adjust that. You never know if that's just a clear your mind kind of thing or if you really do need more grip. A 1-0 count. Deering leads off from first base. Bishop looks in, fires, breaking pitch. That's in there for a strike. I'd like to see the spin rate on that thing.
Yeah.
That was a frisbee.
Bishop already making a pretty good first impression despite the walk.
So 1-1, 1 away. And that's the same pitch again, but it misses just outside. So he's behind to Corpus.
Very nice fan attendance here for, a free event to the public, a lot of family, a lot of scouts here as well. We had a couple yesterday. Wouldn't be surprised if there are a couple here today.
2-1 pitch is inside, runs a count to 3-1. So 8 pitches into his first appearance here, and Bishop has only thrown a single strike. 3-1, he's got to get one over the plate to Corpus. Corpus will be waiting for it. Hitter's count. That is in there. Breaking pitch for a strike. Just froze him.
Bishop, very excited for this opportunity at FIU. One of the guys who I've been able to talk with a good amount, and Johnny as well. He's very excited to be here and gotten very well along with all
Full count, gets a swing and miss, and there's Jaden Bishop's first strikeout.
That was nasty.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of times guys get behind in counts and they're nervous to throw the breaking ball. He got down 3-1 and just said, I'm throwing my best pitch 3 times, try and hit it, and Corpus couldn't.
Yep. We'll see. This is going to be a big piece for FIU, especially in a bullpen that struggled a lot last season.
Yeah.
As even you had Tiburcio starting in, you would see struggles from him. You would see him kind of give you a lot of length, and then the bullpen ends up struggling it.
Yeah, 2 away here as Bishop looks into running. He's going to throw over to first and get Deering. Yeah, you mentioned that. You had Tiburcio, you had Kabarkis, and that was about it as far as front-end starters. The rest of it was kind of a hodgepodge. You threw a bunch of relievers out there. So guys who can give you any sort of length are at a premium for Rich Witten and his staff. As that breaking pitch is in there for a strike.
this season. Joel Pinheiro finally coming back from Tommy John surgery. Most of his starts came in midweek games against either UM. We saw the Bethune-Cookman start as well. Owen Puck coming back from Tommy John. I'm excited to see what he's able to cook up.
0-1 pitch is hit foul. Yeah, and, not just new pitchers, right? Not just maybe some new starters, some new transfers are coming in, but a new pitching coach, and Carson Whitson, who comes in from a really good a couple of years in the same position at USF. They've got to be excited to bring him aboard.
Yeah, we were talking to him. He's extremely excited to be out here. He's always behind every pitcher during their bullpen sessions. And on top of that,
0-2 pitches swung on and missed, and Deering was trying to steal. It didn't matter. So after a 4-pitch walk and then getting behind Matthew Corpus, what a response from Bishop. 2 straight strikeouts to get out of the inning without allowing any further damage. However, we had the 3-run home run, the absolute moonshot from Keshawn Frett that ended Logan Rundy's day, and that pushes the lead to 6-0 for that Gold Squad. Blue has got to respond, and they'll do that in the bottom of the 3rd inning. We will have that for you on the FIU Athletic Stream. Stay with us.
Alex Ulo.
Alex Ulloa will lead off this inning. Another one for Jackson Ritchie, who's worked 2 clean innings. And Ulloa has made some great plays defensively, but Ulloa, Sammy Fisher, and Chase Engelhard.
not to be the one that's going to jinx it, but Jackson Ritchie's been throwing a no-hitter thus far.
That is true enough. And if I know anything about baseball, here comes the first base hit of the game. And it's the first pitch is slash foul. So Alex Ulloa is going to try to implement the announcer's curse that Kevin Brawl has just bestowed upon Jackson Ritchie, who you mentioned is throwing a no-hitter so far. Has hit a couple of batters. And right on cue, that's laced into left center field. Is it going to hang up enough? It is caught by Austin Deering. And eat your heart out, announcer's curse. Alex Ulloa flies out to left field.
Got lucky there.
Number 14,
Sammy Fisher is going to step in as Richie keeps his no-hitter going.
One of the bigger guys on this team, and for a freshman, standing at 6'2", 197, hometown of Cali, Columbia High School, True North Classical Academy. He is a freshman and kind of play the left field, give you some action at third base.
First pitch into him is laced out into left field and going back towards the wall, clearing the wall, opposite field. Sammy Fisher, big boy, big swing. That just kept carrying, and the first hit of the game is also the first run of the game for the blue team. Sammy Fisher, Oppo Popo.
Wow, very good stuff from Sammy Fisher here to get it going. Very impressive home run. I did not think that was going to clear the fence, and it just barely did.
Yeah, had some sneaky power, just kind of slicing away like many of my shots on the golf course, slicing far and far away from the center, but just clipped in over that 325 mark in left field. So great swing on that ball from Sammy Fisher in his first at bat. That brings up Chase Engelhard with one away. And he is immediately hit by a pitch. And you can hear some of the, lighthearted jeers from both dugouts as Richie immediately hits Engelhardt after giving up the home run. So he's got to settle down here. Still a 6-1 ball game in favor of Gold.
Number 5.
And that brings up Nick Patelli, the catcher.
Nick Patelli's brother of former UM catcher, blanking out on the first name now, but he is no longer with the U. So
Patelli, Nick Patelli, our Patelli, the only Miami Patelli left behind the dish, and he takes the first pitch outside. Yeah, Patelli probably the third or fourth catcher last year, but in his limited playing time, he's real tough behind the plate. Had to block a ton, a lot of those great breaking ball pitches from that FIU pitching staff last year, and pretty good with the stick in his hands as Patelli flies one back behind home plate.
Still a long way for this blue team to take the lead or even just tie this game up down 6-1. One hit, one home run. Sammy Fisher. That's going to be a name I think we're going to hear a lot of. Maybe steps into that Royal Quevedo role, that true freshman that really makes an impact. Big, muscular guy who has a lot of power, as we saw today.
1-1 and 1 away. Pitches in. Patelli fouls it off. It reminds me of a guy like Brian Lariga last year, who was able to play in the outfield, able to play in the infield, and give you great at-bats. Sammy Fisher maybe has more power than Lariga, but that kind of positional versatility we talked about earlier is some of Witten's philosophy, so already paying off. And, yeah, I think we'll call Sammy Fisher's name quite a few times. 1-2 pitches outside and a bluff steal there from Engelhardt. So the count is 2-2. Richie, only giving up the 1 run. It's really the only bad pitch he's made. I don't even know if it was that bad of a pitch. Fisher just went out and golfed it out of here. So still, in a sense, cruising, but has hit 2 batters. One of them, Chase Engelhardt, still standing over there on first base, and now finds himself in a full count to Patelli.
Obviously, still a couple months away from the actual season getting going, but right now, this current Gold outfield is most likely what we will see on opening day, which is LaCorey in right, Smith in center, and then we have Deering in left.
Payoff pitch is Sky. Going back is the second baseman. He is called off by LaCorey in right field. So LaCorey retires him. Now there is 2 away. And, yeah, that may be the opening day outfield, and crucially, a completely different outfield from last year.
When you look at position by position, the outfield does not have a single returner, which really says a lot about how much guys they lost. Obviously, last year's outfield really consisted of Sanchez, Rosario, and Carpio, all 3 no longer with the program.
So Jamel Vera is going to step in and take his first at-bat of the game. And he is, I think, the extra hitter here. Tough to keep the EHs and DHs straight. And that pitch is at the numbers, but high for a ball.
Jamel Vera comes from Brooklyn, New York, 5'11", 166. He is a freshman and comes from a high school called P27 Academy. We've never heard of that one.
No, I know the PS, the public school system up there, but I don't know if I've ever heard of P27 Academy. As that pitch is outside, so Vera wearing the number 41 in all white from the left side of the batter's box is up 2-0 on Jackson Ritchie.
Vera probably going to make a lot of impact here for FIU. Another, as you mentioned, this philosophy that Witten wants, a lot of versatility.
Yeah, it's a long season. And I think, last year you saw as that pitch gets away from Roney, and Engelhardt will move up to second base on the pass ball.
And if you're a freshman on this FIU team, this is a great time to really just make a name for yourself. Obviously, as a freshman, you're not going to get as much playing time as you would like with so many guys. But on this type of baseball team where there's more new players than returners, you get a chance to really make a name for yourself in this small World Series game.
So 3-0 count. We'll see if the bat even leaves the shoulder of Vera as Ritchie fires in. It doesn't, and it's outside anyway. So a 4-pitch walk. Ritchie kind of showing some signs, 2 perfect innings. Well, shouldn't say perfect. 2 no-hit innings. He gives up the home run. He hits a batter, and now a walk. And he will get a talking to from his player manager. So the player manager out there to talk with him.
Jackson Ritchie.
And we'll see how how they handle this. I don't see any action in the bullpen. We normally got our own very intrepid Jonathan Mayer running around. We'll see if we can't track him down, but I don't see anyone in the bullpen. So it looks like this will be Richie. He's just got to get one away, but all of a sudden there is traffic on the base pass for Blue. In an inning, Kevin, they had to respond and score some points.
Exactly, especially in a 6th-inning game. You don't have much time left for yourself, and you've got to get going and got to get it going quick.
Yeah. So at the plate, it'll be Ronnie Medina, the catcher, leading off, and he'll have Engelhard on second and Vera on first. 2 runners on, but 2 away here in the bottom of the 3rd. It's a 6-1 ball game. Richie will stay out. First pitch in to Medina is swung on and missed. A light breeze kind of moving from right to left here today at the FIU Baseball Stadium as the 0-1 is on the way, and that's outside. Good block from Roney as the Blue Runners have taken some aggressive leads.
Ronnie Medina, senior now on the team. He made saw action in 17 games, made 15 starts, finished the season with 8 hits, a double, 2 RBIs, 112 putouts, and 9 assists. Went 1 for 3 with a walk, with a run, a walk, and an RBI in a 13-12 win over Marist.
And that pitch is in there, a 1-2 count. Yeah, Medina was always reliable when you could plug him in behind Roney and Paladar last year. Paladar no longer with the team. I think it's another phrase we'll say a whole lot.
Yep.
But he gets a chance here to scrimmage, do some damage. 1-2 count. Runners on second and first. And Richie looks back to second, but he fires, and that pitch is fouled away.
So Richie's the player manager, but obviously I'm not quite sure who the bench coach is. I do believe FI, both teams do have a bench coach. I mean, funny enough, they have a scouting team, they have a owner, they have a GM, they have everything, man.
Yeah, and Roney, that sometimes the catcher is the general manager of the pitching staff, but Roney, the general manager of the whole operation there for Golden. Boy, did he pick a good team. They're up 6-1. The 1-2 count, 2 away. Pitch is outside, count even at 2.
I think Brennan Roney definitely slides in as that opening day catcher for FIU with maybe Ronnie Medina and Jacob McKenzie kind of working their way. Something that, as a former catcher, Rich Witten has done is really rotate his catchers. And yes, it could be beneficial, but also has its issues as you would like to see consistency with one guy throughout the whole season.
Yeah. So 2-2 count, 2 away. Laced into center. Running over is Jakari Smith. He's called off by Austin Deering on left field, who makes the grab on the run and ends the threat and ends the inning. But they got a run on the home run from Sammy Fisher, who went opposite field and cut the lead to 6-1. We will see what the pitching situation is for for Blue, as they go up to protect or to try and make an impact here. It's a 6-1 lead for Gold in Game 2 of this Gold and Blue World Series. We will have the 4th inning. We're halfway home. We'll have the 4th inning for you when we come back. Welcome back in. Fourth inning of action here in the Gold and Blue scrimmage. Gold, a 6-1 lead. And back out, it will be Bishop. And for his second frame, he recorded the last 2 outs of the last inning, a 4-pitch walk, and then 2 strikeouts to end the threat. But Blue needs to have a clean inning here. They really need to keep this gap at 5.
Jacob McKenzie now making his way up the
It'll
plate.
be McKenzie, Jaquan Smith, and Andre Martinez as McKenzie takes his first pitch, swings at it for a strike. So working quickly is Bishop, and he fouls that back. Obviously, the pitch clock, a new thing. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't look like Bishop needs a pitch clock. He is in there and ready to go.
I love the pitch clock. It makes games not only go quicker, but it's so much better for just the fan.
0-2 pitch on the way is high. Good take from Jacob McKenzie.
It's so much better for the fan experience. You get in, get out of the games quick. People say baseball is boring, and obviously for us.
1-2 pitch, swung on a miss. McKenzie goes down on strikes.
For us, we love baseball. We can sit here for hours, but for the casual fan, you don't want to be there for 4 or 5 hours watching a baseball game. I remember last year, 2 years ago, Marlins Mets. It was Edward Cabrera against banking on the pitcher right now, but it was 2 of the slowest pitchers in baseball.
Yeah.
Cabrera and the other one. But man, that was a very long game.
So the first pitch into Jaquan Smith is in there for a strike, and Jaquan Smith, regardless of what he does at the plate, the guy's got range in center field.
He's got range. He's got speed.
And that pitch is high for a ball, so 1-1.
Fits into that mold of what maybe FIU's trying to finally look for, find a consistent type of product.
And so the 1-1 pitch into Smith, that's inside, and that hit him, but I think it popped off the no, they're ruling it didn't hit him. Sorry about that. That's a 2-1 count. Yeah, and Smith.
It did look like it hit him, though,
yeah.
I will say.
So 2-1 is high, so 3-1 count. And Jaquan Smith laced one in their center field. I can't see a pitch like that and think, there was a time where Albert Bell one time was hit by a pitch in the 90s, and that's a little flare out to first base that is caught by Figgy. But Albert Bell, who was kind of an absolute monster, was hit by a pitch and refused to take his base. He said, "No, you're going to pitch to me. You're not getting out of this." And Albert Bell stayed in the batter's box and took the rest of that at bat. So Jaquan Smith is retired on the flare out to Figueroa at first, and Andre Martinez, the third baseman, will step in from the right side. 2 away here in the top of the 4th inning, and good quick work from Bishop. And how about that? He gets a fly ball into foul territory. Over goes Figueroa, makes the catch on the run, reaching behind him. Had a ton to play with. The sun, the shadow from the grandstand, but Figueroa, what I was telling Kevin during the break, one of the finest defensive first basemen you'll find on a diamond this college baseball season, gets him out of the inning. So 1, 2, 3, just what the Gold team needed. And we are through 3.5 innings. We'll have the bottom of the 4th for you when we come back. Don't miss it. Stay tuned to the FIU Athletic Stream. So we've got a new battery operation. We've got David Eckes on the mound for Gold. I'm going to mess that up. I don't know why they're not just wearing gold and blue. That make things a whole lot
Messed it
easier.
up a couple times already
Yeah,
today.
we got gold wearing white, blues wearing black. Up is down, left is right. But regardless of all that, David Eckes is on the mound, and Jacob McKenzie, who struck out in the last inning, will be behind the dish. And we've talked about the incredible general manager work and catching that Brendan Roney has done. We've seen Ronnie Medina and now and Nick Pelletieri. Pelletieri, and we've got Jacob McKenzie behind the plate.
It's a lot of that FIU has, and as I was mentioning, I was talking to Roney yesterday, and he was just telling me, like, we now feel like there's a lot more depth on this team, something we feel like we didn't have a lot of last season. And they're very excited to not only have the depth, but have that depth produced for them at in every possible situation.
Yeah, depth, versatility, two things that Rich Witten clearly had in mind when building the squad. And speaking of, David Eckes last year out of the bullpen was kind of that depth guy, had a couple of good outings, but there were just times where guys would get to him quickly, and it really blew up on him on a number of occasions last year. So he's kind of looking for a bounce back campaign, and he comes in with a 6-1 lead.
Number 17, Hector.
Yeah, last season for David Eckes, I don't even want to read it, but an 18.32 ERA for him.
Small sample size, to be fair.
Extremely small, 9 games. He had what is very impressive is his high strikeout percentage.
Yes,
he has
great
a high K per 9.
So his first pitch is to Hector Candelas, and it is inside for a ball. So the lefty Candelas playing right field is going to get the lefty Eckes. It'll be Candelas, Guida, and Armando Becerra. And that pitch is swung on and missed. There is some of that swing and miss stuff that you mentioned, Kevin.
Explains why he has a 12.5 K per 9 last season. Does not walk much people.
That'll play.
Yep, exactly.
A 1-1 count, and that pitch is inside. 2-1 count. Nobody away. 6-1 ball game. Only 4 hits between the teams, but we've seen a couple of home runs and a few errors that have led to some runs scored. But all in all, a good offensive showing. And speaking of, that ball is just foul. Down the line, Candelas went into right field, and it was wide by maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet from clipping that line. So he'll come back in a 2-2 count.
Owen Puck, who is the general manager of this team, drafted this squad, and obviously not too good of an outing for them yesterday, but I'm excited to see what Owen Puck, the player, is going to do this season. He's been hitting 94, 95 in his bullpen sessions, coming back from Tommy John, brother of AJ Puck, who, those guys have a pretty good relationship, and hopefully we'll see Mr. Puck out here.
2-2 to Candelas is in the dirt, runs the count full for Eckes.
Hopefully we see AJ Puck out here at a couple of FIU baseball games. I know the Miami Marlins are big supporters of South Florida sports teams, and specifically baseball teams. They've been out for a couple of UM games, and maybe we'll see them out here at FIU.
So full count payoff pitch. Eckes to Candelas is off the elbow protector, and that's the 5th hit by pitch we've seen today from FIU pitching on both sides.
Yeah.
So Candelas will take first, and that brings up Brian Guida. Not a guy that you want to put people on base for.
If the blue team's going to capitalize off of this momentum that they've got going, I think now's the time, Carlton.
Yeah, now's the guy they want in the batter's box. Brian Guida led the team in basically every offensive category last season. And the first pitch to him is outside. Candelas took an aggressive secondary lead there, and I didn't see any movement from the gold infield to try and prevent him from stealing. So we'll see if he takes that as a sign that it's okay to go.
Ryan Guida at the Valley League was absolutely
1-0 pitch is high.
Ryan Guida at the Valley League was a legend. I think that's the best way to put it. Hit 425, 506, 582 with an over 1,000 OPS, 3 home runs, 30 RBIs. He had his number retired by the end of the season, literally.
Yeah, that's making an impression. He certainly did. 2-0 pitch. It swung on and driven into left field, and right on cue, Ryan Guida, a 2-run shot. That's long gone.
Guida bomb.
A no-doubter from Ryan Guida, and he takes his victory lap, and the lead all of a sudden is just 3 runs. Ryan Guida, the big fly from the big man.
What a bomb from Ryan Guida. Same spot we saw Keyshawn Fred hit it to. Felt like a lot higher of a home run this time. And there they go with their C celebration.
Get a chance to see the home run celebration from either team. So what was looking like a pitcher's duel early has turned into a bit of an offensive firefight as Ryan Guida drives in two, including himself on the 2-run home run, and that'll bring up Armando Paceres. So David Eckes yet to retire a batter, and here he goes at Paceres, who's given up 2 runs already. First pitch is fouled off, push the count to 0-1.
That's what you're going to need from this FIU team. We've seen a lot of power these last 24 hours-ish. We see Keyshawn Fred, Austin Deering, Ryan Guida, all home runs, Sandy Fisher.
0-1 is in there for a strike. That's a great breaking pitch. Again, some of that great stuff that Eckes has. Becerra turned because I think he thought it was going to hit him, and it ended up dead over the middle. And I'll tell you what, after that Guida home run, we're back. Baseball's back.
Baseball's back, baby.
0-2 pitch is swung on and missed, and Eckes settles down, gets a great 3-pitch strikeout after the home run to Guida. You know, the World Series ended just last week, but being here in person and finally seeing some balls fly out of the ballpark, it's like baseball never left. I couldn't be happier to be here today in one of my favorite venues to watch the game. We've got a beautiful view of the FIU campus and some of this beautiful Miami skyline. You've got planes flying in from left field into MIA on a beautiful, beautiful Miami weekend day.
Can't complain. You have FIU football just a couple hours away. They're taking on the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders.
6-3 ball game. And that pitch is low, so a 1-1 count is in there to Tracy and Cameron. So Eckes gets the strikeout, but yeah.
Should have gone underway, but FIU volleyball also on action today.
A 1-1 count with 1 away. That pitch is outside. Push the count to 2-1. Yeah, and you said it. I mean, yeah, good day. All the FIU sports is getting rolling. It's been a lot of fun to have all of you with us on the broadcast. We hope you're enjoying our coverage. A 2-1 pitch is swung on and fouled down the line. So the count runs to 2-2.
And if you want to watch the game live on broadcasted video, you could have seen Ryan Guida's home run to Paws podcast. You could check it out there. We have it on YouTube, Twitter, and I believe Facebook as well. So you could hear us on the call as well, and you can make your way over to the Paws podcast.
Love our friends over at the Paws Up Network. Really got to subscribe. They've got great interviews, great insight from the guys over there. Kevin, I know you do a lot of work with them. So 2 away because that ball was grounded over to the first baseman, Brylan West, who picked it up and stepped on the bag to retire Cameron. So that'll bring up Adrian Figueroa. I think he made a great defensive play to end the last defensive frame for Blue. Steps in with the chance to make an impact with his bat in a 6-3 ball game. First pitch from Eckes to Figgy is outside for a ball.
Adrian Figueroa is going to be another big piece for this FIU team, and I think that's something we're going to say a lot about because they're going to need every single guy to really step up.
1-0 count. Pitches swung on and missed. They took a big hack at that one and didn't connect. Runs the count even.
Adrian Figueroa's length is something that's really going to play a factor into how good of a defender he is and has been throughout the season.
1-1, swung, grounded to his opposite number, West at first base, who picks it up and steps on the bag. So I mentioned defensive first base. That's a good stab from Brylan West over there at first base. He steps on the bag and ends the inning, but not before Ryan Guida raised the roof and left the building with a 2-run bomb that cut this deficit to just 3 runs. It's a 6-3 ball game. We'll have gold in the top of the 5th inning when we return. Don't miss it. We got a ball game breaking out in Miami.
Fifth, number 4. Roy.
Top of the 5th inning. It's Bishop out for another inning of work. He's going to get the top of the gold lineup. Royland Quevedo, Brylan West, and Jeff LaCorey. First pitch into Quevedo is a breaking pitch in there for a strike. Looks like the same defensive lineup as far as I can tell, Kevin, for the blue team. So that breaking pitch is in there to Quevedo. And Bishop, came in, obviously a guy that we're excited to see, a 4-pitch walk, and then really struggled to find the strike zone for his first couple of batters. But he is in cruise control now as that 0-2 pitch bounces away from the catcher. That's Ronnie Medina behind the dish. So the count is 1-2.
Yeah, Jaden Bishop, someone who has shown a lot of velocity for the most part, especially on his secondary stuff.
Yeah, his secondary stuff is good. It's got a ton of movement. And that one moved up and out for a ball. So a 2-2 count here. Still a 6-3 score after the 2-run home run in the bottom of the 4th inning from Ryan Guida cut it to a 6-3 ball game. As the 2-2 pitch is high, and that'll full out the count.
Orlando Hernandez warming up for the gold team for FIU. They're going all in. They cannot allow any more runs. They're going to bring out the big guns.
Payoff pitch, slash down the line and foul.
Looks like they're going to ride with Jaden Bishop all the way to the end of this game unless they feel like it's a lot closer than it should be.
Payoff pitch is high for a ball. Quevedo works a walk. And I think, one of the things that we're watching this weekend, you mentioned Royland Quevedo has definitely put on some mass, wants to hit for more power, has said as much, and hasn't got a chance to show it today because it's either been strikeouts or walks for him. But I think another thing that he can do to be successful for this team is get on base. And he did that there by working a very good walk in a full count.
On-base machine for FIU last season.
Up comes Brylan West, who made a couple of good plays over at first base. You must have heard us talking about Figueroa's defensive prowess. So like I said, I'll show you the leather. And now he gets a chance to show the stick, but he swings and misses. And he is quickly down 0-2.
Royland Quevedo spent some time at the Valley League, and I know he's already on base, but he was pretty good. 280, 539, 360, 899 at the Valley League.
0-2 is inside, almost hit West. And that didn't phase him at all, but it is a ball. So 1-2 count. Yeah, Quevedo, we mentioned, I think he's one of these, there's a lot of young guys on the team, but with his playing experience being here last year, he'll be a young leader, I think, for that group of younger guys. As West pops up right to Figueroa at first base, who tracks over and makes the catch. Maybe a little bit of wind moved that at the end, but it's no problem for Figueroa. And he makes the first out of the inning. So here comes Jeff LaCorey, guy with a ton of pop in his bat. The runner on first base. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. It looked like he limped it off, but clearly he's okay. He's made a couple good plays in the outfield, and he gets another chance to impact the game with his bat. Jeff LaCorey batting from the left side against the left-hander Bishop.
Exactly. You don't want to see anyone getting injured, especially during a scrimmage game that, at the end of the day, as much as you want to wait for bragging rights, doesn't mean much in terms of records. So nice to see LaCorey fine and back at the plate.
So LaCorey takes the first pitch for a strike. There was a throw over to Quevedo, who now has a proper baseball player's jersey. That thing is dirty on the front and the back. Love to see that from Quevedo. So 0-1 pitch is popped up. LaCorey in foul territory. Over there is the third baseman. He can't make the catch. Sorry, that's Engelhardt, who's now swapped over to play third base. And he lost that in the sun. Couldn't make the catch. It was a very far run for him, but can't come up with the play. So a 0-2 count now, as you got to say Jeff LaCorey kind of bailed out there.
Yeah. Definitely got lucky there. And thankfully, I guess when you look at it for in the perspective for Engelhardt, wasn't a base hit. It was just a foul. So I don't know. Add another strike to the count.
And they are shifted over, to the right side of the infield here, which has pulled Engelhardt, the third baseman, kind of into a more of a natural shortstop. So it was a far run for him, though he didn't make the catch. Another throw over to Quevedo is not in time. It's an 0-2 count on LaCorey. We'll see if he can make the most of this second chance. Bishop looks in, fires, and popped up, this time in fair territory. LaCory, and the catch is made. Retreating back to first base is Quevedo, and that's Vera out in left field who makes the catch.
A lot of pop in this gold team, and I think they're going to get a lot more pop right here with who's coming up.
Yeah, Keyshawn Fret is going to step in after hitting an absolute tank of a 3-run home run that's proven to be the difference so far in this 6-3 ball game. So here's a word of advice. I'm sure that Bishop heard this. Don't throw him anything over the middle. Please don't do that again. First pitch is in there for a strike.
And Orlando Hernandez was continuing to warm up. Looks like he's ready to go and will likely come in the top half of this inning. Bottom half, I'm sorry.
0-1 pitch is on the way, is in there for a strike. You can't say enough about Jane Bishop today. Obviously his outing is not over, but his outing started so rocky. He has bounced back really well. You mentioned the velocity. You mentioned the breaking pitch. A lot to like out of his first appearance here in the scrimmage.
I'm definitely excited to see how he plays into the bullpen.
0-2 pitch, and right on cue gets a swing and miss. A bit of a wry smile from Keyshawn Fret, and he knows he got there. A great pitch to end the inning. And look at him skipping to the dugout. He's pumped up, is Bishop. So a 6-3 game. Bishop does his job, 2 2/3 innings, and he hasn't allowed a run. So exactly what Blue needed. Now it's time for the offense to get it going. We'll see if they do. We'll be back with the bottom of the 5th inning here on the FIU Athletic Streams. If you're enjoying the stream on radio, you'd like it even more with video, go over to Lemon City Live and you can get a live feed. You'll still have our calls. You don't need to miss us, but you'll get a live feed of this game. You'll see all the home runs and hear all the calls. We'll be back bottom of the 5th inning when we return. Bottom of the 5th inning, Orlando Hernandez Jr., who was warming up in the bullpen, is now making his way to the mound. So it'll be Alex Ulloa, Sammy Fisher, and Chase Engelhard batting for Blue in a 6-3 ball game. They're 6 outs away from a second consecutive defeat. First pitch from Orlando Hernandez is in there for a strike.
Hernandez was one of the bigger pieces for FIU last season, especially giving them a lot of bulk innings. He was pretty good towards the end of the year.
And here comes the 0-1. That's a breaking pitch that kind of sweeps away and runs the count even. Obviously, a great pedigree from Orlando Hernandez. His father, El Duque, was a sensation in the league for a couple of years, as that pitch is in there for a strike.
El Duque shows up to a couple of these games every once in a while, and I believe he was here yesterday.
1-2 pitch is low. Count runs even. I remember last year, Jonathan Mayer called one of Orlando's sliders a changeup, and El Duque overheard him and gave him a good talking to about what pitch is what. And so that was a personal highlight for me That was hilarious. And speaking of highlights, what a pitch on the outside corner to strike out Ulloa. So Hernandez, face one batter, gets a strikeout.
Number
Yes, sir.
14.
Good varying on the pitches, too. We saw the fastball. We saw what looked like maybe a little arm side run, a bit of change of pace, a breaking pitch. So Hernandez showing it all off, and he gets another chance to do that here against Sammy Fisher, who didn't hit the longest home run of the day, but probably hit the most impressive, the opposite field slice shot that just carried over the wall. And quickly, this count is even at 1-1. Hernandez in the same mold as Jaden Bishop, who we saw, doesn't need the full pitch clock. He's always ready to go. 1-1. That pitch is outside. That looks like the changeup. Good arm side action on it, but he can't locate it in the strike zone, or at least close enough to get Fisher to chase it.
We have action in the
2-1 is a swing and a miss. Count runs even.
have action in the FIU bullpen for the blue team. And it is not Tristan Dietrich as we had thought originally, someone else.
So we'll get that name for you. We'll see if we can get Jonathan Mayer down there. 2-2 count, swung on and missed, and Orlando Hernandez Jr. has struck out 2 straight batters.
It's going to be a big piece for this FIU team. Could likely see him as a starting pitcher. I'm extremely interested to see how Coach Richmond will use him. He used him in a lot of different situations, and that's going to be a big thing, not only for him, but for a lot of these pitchers.
Yeah. So we'll see how he does here against Chase Engelhard. Engelhard, the second baseman to start the day, has moved over to third base, a versatile infielder. And we'll see what he can do with the bat in his hand. 1-0 count. Interesting, walk-up songs haven't been chosen yet, but every time Engelhardt's come up, it's 5 o'clock somewhere play. So I think maybe he's tipped his hand as to what he wants to hear before he hits this season. 1-0 count. Pitch is in there for a strike. That is a nasty. Looks like either a sinker or change two-seamer that he is throwing with some great arm side action.
Orlando Hernandez is going to be one of the bigger pieces for FIU. He's definitely had an impressive 2022.
1-1 is outside. Counts 2-1.
I have a new third base coach out there for the gold team. It is Kevin Martin, I believe, who was on the blue team yesterday, funny enough.
Maybe they made a trade and didn't tell us. 2-1 is driven through the gap between third and short, and that'll be a base hit from Chase Engelhard. And the ball kind of squirms away from Quevedo, but it won't do anything to advance Engelhard. So Engelhard, a nice base hit through the left side of the infield.
Yeah, Engelhard's guy who I'm actually very interested to see how he will be used. He's a pretty lengthy guy, long guy. And I was completely confused. Kevin Martin is on the blue team, stayed on the blue team. Blue team's batting. I am very confused right now.
Listen, they should be wearing blue and gold.
They should be wearing, and I know they hate it because I've heard many players not like it. They feel like pajamas, but they should wear those baby blues.
Yeah. But they really don't. We'll get to it later. We don't have time. We've got Nick Patelli in the batter's box. It's a 0-1 count. Those baby blues are great.
They feel, apparently it's the pants that feel like pajamas because you can't put on a belt.
Oh, okay. I'll let him have it. We'll get him some new pants. And that pitch is grounded. Patelli has grounded out to Brylan West to end the inning. So a base hit for Chase Engelhard, but Orlando Hernandez Jr. comes in with a really good outing and crucially doesn't allow Blue to close that gap. That gap, as it stands, is a 6-3 lead for the gold team. We'll have a new pitcher for them in the top of the 6th inning. We'll see. Final inning of play coming up. Remember, shortened game. So we'll have the final inning of action for you here on the FIU Athletics stream. Don't go anywhere. New blue pitcher on the mound is Andrew Idelfonso. Idelfonso making his first appearance of this Gold and Blue World Series. He'll pitch to Ronnie Medina behind the plate, and he will face Austin Deering, Matthew Corpus, Brendan Roney. And whatever got into Deering last night, certainly contagious. Deering hit the big 3-run home run, and we've seen a couple of bombs today from both sides of this FIU scrimmage here. But it is Gold on top of blue, 6-3 here in the 6th inning. And regardless of the score, stay tuned. They're playing the full 6th inning, no matter what happens here.
Alfonso, another one of those freshmen, is getting the opportunity from Archbishop McCarthy High School from Miami product. So excited to see what he's got, and first time we'll be seeing him in action.
Archbishop McCarthy, go Mavericks. Had a couple of friends there when I was in high school, kind of way out west near Southwest Ranches, which is just in the massively huge west part of Broward County. But a fine high school. Turns out a ton of great products. So it will be Idelfonso. Idelfonso will get Austin Deering, the righty. Idelfonso pitches to the lefty, Austin Deering.
Number 19, Austin Deering.
And here comes the Austin Deering shift as we've got a shortstop playing up the middle, the second baseman on the outfield grass, and your third baseman, Engelhardt, has moved into what would you expect is a natural kind of shortstop role. First pitch in is sliced out into left field, and that's going to go. Austin Deering, back-to-back games, home runs, and Austin Deering goes opposite field. There's a lot of carry out there, or at least a lot of pop in the FIU bats. Austin Deering stretches the lead to 7-3.
I was telling myself in my head, I was like, man, imagine you do all this shifting just for this guy to go opposite field, and first pitch, first swing, oppo field to homer. What a home run by Austin Deering, man.
Yeah, they talk about the guys that can beat the shift by either hitting through it or hitting away from it. You could have put the defenders anywhere you wanted. That thing left the ballpark. So that brings up Matthew Corpus in what is now a 7-3 ball game.
Got to feel bad for the freshman, throwing him out there against the Wolves, essentially. You have Deering, now you have Corpus, and then you have, I believe, Keyshawn Fred.
First pitch is out of the ballpark, but it's a 1-1 count now to Corpus. That I think that's also a good lesson for young pitchers to learn, is how to put it behind them, and quickly Alfonso gives up the run. So 1-1 count. That pitch is swung on and missed, and Corpus kind of screwed himself into the ground on that one, and he's behind 1-2.
Also changes kind of your mentality a little bit. You want to pitch a little more on the outside. You don't want to get yourself in another position where you're giving up another one of those home runs.
1-2 is swung on and grounded to the third baseman. Fisher can't come up with it. That'll roll all the way into the left field. Vera is going to make a long throw to second. It won't be close to in time. And so in there with a double is Matthew Corpus.
Great throw by Vera, too. I'll give him that.
Yeah, quite an arm. I mean, he was kind of sliding. He couldn't shift his weight on it. He certainly got it there. But a tough play, certainly a tough play, would have been moving to his right. Was Fisher at third base, couldn't come up with the backhanded diving stab, and crucially couldn't keep it in front of him, which allowed Corpus to get to second base. So up steps Brendan Roney.
The hit in his last at bat.
Yep, and Roney gets Idelfonso, the freshman, and that pitch is outside. And Roney, again, one of these leaders on the team, probably going to be the day's starting catcher, and is going to get some work against the freshman. So big moment for the freshman here. He's already given up the home run, and now a double. And we'll see if he can settle in and keep this deficit at 4. And thank goodness for the netting, because that would have broken the window right in front of Kevin Burrell's face. And I don't know if we would have psychologically recovered from that foul ball that came right at us. But the count now 1-1.
Got to thank the netting today. I'll give him that.
Can't believe we ever played without it. 1-1 pitch is in the dirt for a ball. Good job keeping it in front of him. There is Medina behind the plate, because he's got Corpus on second. So 2-1 count. Oh, no shift on for Roney. Outfield playing him straight up, infield playing him straight up. Alfonso looks back from the stretch, fires, and that's fouled off into the parking lot. Count stays even at 2-2. So nobody away here in a 7-3 ball game here in game 2 of this gold and blue scrimmage. Gold won last night 8-2, and they're up now 7-3.
Yeah, gold obviously showing that they have the better overall team, I think we could say.
And a lot of that has to go with the guy in the batter's box right now is that 2-2 pitch is outside for a ball. Guy in the batter's box, obviously Brendan Roney, the GM who made the selections for the team. So he's got to feel – he's got to feel like the smartest guy in the room.
Oh, 100%. And he's also got to be asking himself, how did I manage to get Fred, LaCorey, and Deering all in my outfield?
He got a monopoly on the power bats. So payoff pitch here to Roney is low, and Ildefonso walks it. So Ildefonso has given up the home run, the double, and now the walk, and that'll bring up Jacob McKenzie. We mentioned Roney, obviously Medina behind the plate now. Patelli, Jacob McKenzie probably looking around in that backup or fourth catcher spot. You mentioned Rich Witten, a former catcher, a guy who knows how tough that position can be, especially for a college team on the road. So much of the season, a long season. It's good to have depth there. So McKenzie got a little bit of work in behind the plate in the bottom couple of innings for gold, and good to see what he can do with the bat here.
It's nice to have that depth, and it's also, in terms of for McKenzie, it's going to be a big season for him in terms of just growth and getting developed into this FIU team. You're a freshman.
That is fisted off down the first base line, and Ildefonso will pick it up and flip it to Figueroa. Kind of hit him in on the hands and just bounce weakly down the line, but it'll move the runners up.
Yeah, really quickly with McKenzie. He's still a freshman. He has a long time here. He could get really well developed under Coach Rich Witten. If you take some time, you don't got to get into the game right away. You'll have time. You have 4 years of college left for yourself.
So it's Corpus at third, Roney at second. First base is open for Jaquan Smith. Smith had a nice single in his first plate appearance, and again hasn't had to show off the range, but there's been some balls hit to the left and right fielders that they've had to call him off because he is just such he covers a lot of space out there in the garden and center. The first pitch to him is a ball.
Excited to see what Jaquan Smith could do this season for FIU. Has a lot of speed, and they definitely needed that at center field. And
1-0 pitch is high.
And they're going to get that this year with Smith. Definitely a quick athlete. And he's probably one of the most athletic guys on this team, if you can make the case. And he also could pop into some power, as we saw today.
2-0 count. And that is fouled back. Big hack from Smith, runs the count to 2-1. Yeah, and, he's a great player. Big shoes to fill. Obviously, Alex Sanchez, the senior there last year, led the team in home runs, had a ton of power, was a tremendous center fielder as well. A different kind of player from Smith. Smith really going to kind of give you base hits all over the place. But
slap hitter, you could say.
Yeah, both excellent center fielders. So we're excited to see what he does. And he hits a high fly ball into right field. Two Panthers converge on it, and they can't make the catch. That drops, but the play is at home. They will not be in time to get Corpus, who held up because he thought it was going to be caught. And that is Hector Candelas, who cannot make the play as it just hung up there. To be fair, Trayson Cameron was going back and was near it, but it ended up just being a campfire. A couple guys watching the ball drop in between them.
RBI single.
Yeah, that is the most unlikely RBI single Jaquan Smith will probably get this season. But nevertheless, he is on first base. And Roney moves over to third. So runners on the corner, Jaquan Smith, they throw over. He gets back in plenty of time. And all of a sudden, this has turned into a very rough outing for Ildefonso.
Not what you want to see, your first time stepping on that FIU mound. Obviously, still a long ways for him to go. Obviously, he's And
it's Andre Martinez who will step in.
Yeah, Ildefonso still has a long way to go here at FIU. Just time to develop, and hopefully you could get it going in at some point this season if he does make an appearance, or next season for FIU.
8-3 ball game. Smith takes a big aggressive lead, and it bounces away from Medina, walking in easily to score. is Brendan Roney, and moving up to second base is Jaquan Smith. So the lead is now 9-3, and the offensive comeback that the blue team was putting together kind of seems like the wind is out of their sails now. 9-3 here in the top of the sixth, and only one away. Alfonso needs to buckle down and get some guys out. So here's for Andre Martinez. And Smith is just going to take third. No throw over there. He got an incredible lead, and Alfonso wasn't holding him on. So Smith gets his RBI double or RBI single and moves up to second on the wild pitch and then steals third. So Ryan Kabarkis is going to come out and talk to Alfonso. And so there's probably not a better guy on the pitching staff to calm Alfonso's nerves. Ryan Kabarkis has been through it all. The redshirt senior, who was so good last year, is going to go out and talk and try and calm Alfonso down. Kevin, what do you say to a guy?
Just got to tell him, look, man, let's get this out. Try to work for a ground ball. Don't work the kind up too much. We got to get something going here. It's one out. Got to work for a double play.
So 2-0.
Not a double play. Jaquan Smith is at third.
Jaquan Smith he's been moving
just
around.
try to get an out, man. At this point, just got to get an out.
Just got to get an out.
Can't work up a high pitch count, especially these guys are on some limits.
The infield is in, though, so if an infielder gets it, they'll come home with it. So trying to limit the damage. Here, Alfonso throws one, and look out. Andre Martinez has to duck out of the way. It's a 3-0 count. One away here.
Don't want another hit by pitch. I think that would be the 6th of the afternoon.
9-3 game, 6-run lead for the Gold Squad, and they only have one away, and that pitch is outside for ball 4.
There's no action in the bullpen. This is going to be all Alfonso, especially in a scrimmage game. You don't want to work up a guy just to not pitch. So this is
probably what Kabarkis went out and told him and said, hey, you've gotten yourself into a mess, and guess what?
You got to get yourself out of it, too.
Get out of it, exactly. So the lineup card flips over. We've got Royland Quevedo, and now the infield at double play depth, as going for the steal is Martinez, and I think he was expecting a throw, or an umpire slowed him down. He kind of stalled out, but ended up taking it. They'll probably give that a DI, defensive indifference.
3 umpires today. Last night we only had 2.
And they're multiplying. And the infield comes in again. And that is laced out into center field. Quevedo going back and making the catch. But both runners will tag and advance.
All right, so we have some action in the blue bullpen for FIU, the same bullpen both teams are using for this game. Looks like they're trying to finally get someone ramping up real quick to get Alfonso out of this game. And hopefully in the inning.
Sarah made the catch, and Jaquan Smith tagged and scored. And Andre Martinez is now at third base for Brylan West. So 2 away. It's been a 4-run top of the 6th inning so far. The lead is now 10-3 for the Gold Squad. And you mentioned they are getting a reliever up. Alfonso's first appearance here in an FIU uniform has been a tough one.
Yep, nothing worth it,
And that pitch is inside. The count's 2-0. Brylan West has had a good day defensively, but hasn't gotten a chance to show off the bat. Struck out a few times. Also been hit by a pitch. Pitch into West. That's driven into center field. A sinking line drive that gets down, and that'll drive in Andre Martinez. So Brylan West, right on schedule, delivers a base hit into center field. And that is now an 11-3 ball game. An 8-run lead for this high-powered Gold offense. Keeps on ticking. And its victim today is Alfonso. That'll bring up Jeff LaCorey.
The line's not going to get much easier from here.
LaCorey swings and drives one into the gap in the right side of the infield. And that will be a single. He's reaching for second. The throw comes in, and he couldn't locate it. Could Trayson Cameron. Cameron didn't think the throw was coming in. A bit of a miscommunication with Hector Candelas. And that will be a double. Really aggressive base running from Jeff LaCorey. And up comes what would be Austin Deering's spot.
Keyshawn
The
Brett.
lineup card, they've gone all the way around. Excuse me, they haven't. Keyshawn Fred with 2 away, and a guy who's already hit a 3-run home run now has 2 runners in scoring position.
Can you do it again?
Big swing. He was trying to make your prediction come true. Keyshawn Fred took a big hack at that one. And there is no balls and a strike. 2 away in an 11-3 ball game. Been a 5-run explosion in the top of the 6th for Gold so far. As Fred watches that low, counts even at 1-1.
For a pitcher like Alfonso who's given up 5 earned this outing, you just got to put it past yourself. You got to go into the next day, not think about that.
1-1. Great pitch. Gets a swing and a miss from Fred, and he's 1 strike away from getting out of it.
Exactly. So you just got to think about, obviously you got to look back and think about what you did incorrectly, because you can't go out there in the actual game during the season, especially during conference play, and have this happen.
The pitch is swung on and missed. So Alfonso, a really tough afternoon, gets punctuated with a big strikeout. So there is always a silver lining, even in the stormiest of clouds, it would seem. But it is a 5-run explosion in the top of the 6th, and that makes it an 11-3 ball game in favor of Gold. Last half inning of action, last chance to make an impact in that scoreline for Blue. Coming up, it'll be Orlando Hernandez Jr. on the bump for Gold to try and close it out. We'll have that action for you next on the FIU Athletic Stream. Bottom of the 6th in here, it's Orlando Hernandez Jr., and he is going to get
Number 41,
Jamel Vera. So it'll be Vera, Medina, and Candelas. First pitch is an attempted bunt that Vera tries to lay down, and he fouls it off for a strike. We've got a few changes in the outfield. Keyshawn Fred takes over in left. Jeff LaCory moves into center to replace Jaquan Smith.
And Austin Deering makes his way over to right field.
With Deering in right. 0-1 pitch on the way. He's not bunting at this one, but it's low. Counts even at 1-1. So last chance to make some noise today. Obviously, they've got a full 6 innings tomorrow. But the Gold Squad's offensive firepower is just a bit too much as Vera pops one into foul territory, but that's going into the stands and into the protective netting. That's a free souvenir for a fan. So tough half inning for Alfonso, but it was already going to be a tall order to go get 3 runs against Orlando here on the mound. And it's a 1-2 count. Pitch is in, grounded to first base. Making the pick cleanly is Rylan West. And he steps on the bag. He's had a few good ones today. And he airmails the throw around. Good thing they weren't playing. Good thing the ball wasn't live there.
Good thing there was not someone at third base.
Tried to throw that over to Quevedo for the little for the wraparound, and he airmailed it by about 4 feet. Now Quevedo, not the tallest guy in the world, but I think that had got over Figueroa's head. So Medina steps into the batter's box, and first pitch he sees is inside. He lays off it, and it's a ball. So the righty, Medina, the catcher, will get Hernandez Jr., and he's ready to go. 1-0 pitch is low and outside for a ball.
I think everyone on that goal team is ready to go home because after 11 runs, you just want to celebrate that type of a win.
2-0 inside, 3-0 count. Yeah, they're all looking at Hernandez. They're saying, do what you did last inning. Go strike these guys out. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, man, college football's on.
3-0 pitch is inside, and it was either great reflexes or a great attempt to get out of the way. Either way, Medina is on. I can't see if that hit him. No one made a signal, so I think he did get out of the way in time, but that was running up and in a hurry.
That was close. That was a very close call.
One away, 11-3 ball game. Hector Candelas steps into the left side batter's box. Unfortunately, made a very difficult, not a difficult play in right field, but it made it look difficult, letting a ball drop in front of him for an RBI single for Jaquan Smith that kind of kept that rally alive in the top half of the inning. But as often is the case in baseball, he's immediately got a chance to make up for it. We'll see what he does here. 1-0 count, one away. Medina on first in an 11-3 ball game. The pitch is in there, called strike.
Orlando Hernandez may have the most velocity on this team is when I look at it. His windup is, you'll notice it now. It's very slow, but he just throws the ball like a fireball, man. And that is exactly what this FIU team needs. Maybe he could be the closer.
Yeah, and he is leveraging every inch of his frame. You're right. It's a slow load, and he just whips his whole body into that pitch. And yeah, he's generating a lot of velocity, a lot of swings and misses. It's a 1-2 count. That's
a lot of closer type stuff that you could see there. And I hope, not obviously his dad was a starter, but man, if Orlando could be a fireball closer for this FIU team, especially, they're going to need him.
1-2 pitch is fouled off by Candelas. Yeah, I think that was a bit of an issue they had. It was definitely a closer by committee situation in the back half of that FIU bullpen. And, you don't need, obviously, longtime Marlins manager Don Mattingly had 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning guys. You don't need to be that regimented, but you have a couple of spots nailed down, a guy that you can rely on. It kind of settles the rest of the team down as that pitch is outside and runs a count 2-2.
The schedule for FIU this season is not going to be much easier. They're bringing in Notre Dame.
2-2 pitch is high versus the count full.
Notre Dame's coming over to FIU. They're also going to Iowa towards the end of the season. And as always, Miami for 4 games.
Yep. That is a crosstown rivalry that has not gone FIU's way in recent or really any memory. Full count. Ball is skied. Foul. We'll do it again.
But if there's one thing that this FIU team has shown is that they could play with the games. They played in some very close games. That first game in Miami, I know it ended with a Zach Levinson home run to win it, a walk-off homer. But, man, FIU was leading for most of the game, and I believe most games here.
Until the last swing.
And the first one here at home, it was a very close game as well towards the very end.
Payoff pitch is grounded to the third baseman, picked up over to second for 1. They will not throw to third. But Andre Martinez made the pick, and Corpus recorded the out at second, but they did not go over to first. So still alive is the blue team, and they send up their best hitter in Ryan Guida, who shook the earth with a big bomb in the bottom of the 4th inning, a 2-run blast. So he's most of the offense here for blue, and they need him again here with 2 away in the bottom of the 6th. First pitch to Guida is inside for a ball.
It's going to be a fun little matchup here. Fireball thrower against arguably FIU's best hitter.
Power for power. Hernandez from the stretch fires a 1-0 pitch. That's in there for a called strike.
Man, what Hernandez is showing is absolutely impressive right now. There's just no other way to put it.
Yeah, it's great stuff, and he's throwing it fearlessly. 1-1 count. Taking off, and nobody's home, so taking off and getting up to second is Hector Candelas. Nobody is home on the throw from McKenzie, so it trickles into the outfield, and making his way to third is Candelas. So now you've got a runner on third with 2 outs, a 2-1 count here, and a strange miscommunication there from the freshman catcher. Guida takes a swing at it, and that is foul down the right field line.
I guess his thought process was that they're going to go for it no matter what. They're going to get this guy out, and I guess second baseman Corpus was just not thinking the same thing, nor neither was Roland Quevedo.
Not on the same page.
And it was a good
2-1
throw.
Pitch.
It was
low through a cut. You're right. It was a good throw, and I think probably had time to beat him. Just
no one was there.
yeah. Mail's no good if it doesn't have an address, right? So 3-1 count to Guida. Hitters count here. We'll see if Orlando goes right at him. Fastball is in there. Called strike. Excuse me. That is strike 3, and that is the ball game. Hernandez celebrates. He gets Guida to end the ball game. It's an 11-3 victory for Gold over Blue. Kevin, your first thoughts